All right, so you are welcome to the introduction to Excel. Now, this is going to be a very brief introduction to the package we are using, the Microsoft Excel. Now, we have majority of, as you said, majority of companies are using Excel for their data analysis. We have, institutions, colleges, and businesses, and big enterprises that are using this particular software to analyze their data. And then one of the reasons why they do this is because the software is very simple to use. All right, it's built. The company Microsoft built the software Excel, and as you can see, everything has been custom made. All right, you just have to click input your data, input information here. All right, then carry out some certain kinds of formatting, creating new sheets, creating new workbooks. Don't worry, we are going to be looking at this. So this is just an introduction video to Microsoft Excel. Now we have different versions of Excel. All right, we had the 2003 version, we had 2000, I think that should 2005, we had 2013 version, and currently the version I'm using here, I think that should be 2019 version of Microsoft Excel. Okay, now for you to properly understand how to use the software, you have to know some of the details of how to use this particular software. All right, just as every software will require that you know how to use the tools inside it. Because looking at here, we can see something like the home, you can see insert, these are called tabs. All right, okay, and once you click on these tabs, you see some other ribbons coming down here. Okay, we have the function libraries, the defined names, formula. So all these things have their different functions in Microsoft Excel. Now you can see the page layout here, where you can set out the page they are working on, right? When it comes to choosing the size for your documents, that's when you want to print out data from, right, from your Microsoft Excel. You can customize all those things here. We also have what is called the cells. Okay, so cell is an intersection between a row and a column, a row and a column. Now, before I talk about the cell, we have to talk about the rows and the column. So what is rows? Let me zoom this out so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now we have this. When we are going vertically from up to down, that's called a row. And then when you are moving it, for example, this one here, going this way is called a row to say. Then going this way is called a column. Please take notes. Going from here down here, this is column A, this is column B, this is column C. Now we have row 1, we have row 2, we have row 3, we have row 4. All right. Now the intersection between a column and a row, or a row and a column, is what is called a cell. And for this particular cell, we label it as B2, right? The column name first before the row name. So where we currently have here, that's the active cell here. All right, these cells are small boxes. So if you move here, if you can use your arrow key to move up and down, all right, you can move from one cell to the other. So the current active cell here is called B2, and you can find it at the name box. This is called the name box, right? And if you input any value inside here by typing on your keyboard, you are going to find that in this particular box here. All right. So any cell you are currently in will indicate the cell here at the name box, which is C2. And if the value is empty, nothing is going to be displayed here. This is called the formula bar, right? This is called the formula bar. You can use this bar to write any formulas of your choice. We are going to be looking at formulas later on in the lesson, right? So for you to remember, as I said, you input text in the cells, all right, as we've just done this. And remember, you can format this text. You can either delete it, you can bold it. Every other functionalities we have in other packages, for example, maybe Microsoft packages such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, you can do them here. All of the formatting features of it. Now, once I click on here, I can choose to bolden this by going to the Home tab. You can see the font ribbon here, right? We can bold this, you can italize this, you can underline this, right? You can even double underline this. Okay, so let's make it back to its default state. Now you can centralize this. All right, as I said, please, every data you are putting in is going to be put in the cell, and this cell has its own a cell name here. They call it the name box. Now we have all this here centralized. We have this, all right, moving to right, justifying, and the whole lot. So now, before that, I was supposed to talk about something that is creating new sheet. For example, when you open Microsoft Excel, you can, the first thing for you to see, look at is the version name. All right, which version are you using? Okay, you can go here to the file. Once you go to the file, you can click on new. If you want to create a new one, right, you can go to options here. We have some options here, but before that, let's go to file. Okay, and then this is how to create a new workbook. So once you open a new workbook, Excel is made up of sheets and workbook. So what you are looking at here is book one. So anytime you are creating a new page, a new file, you are creating what is called a workbook. And each of the workbook, the name is going to appear here. For example, we have book one, and each of these you can create sheets inside a workbook. For example, we have sheet one. I can click on this plus sign to open a new sheet, which is sheet two. All right, let's take, for example, we have many data, many information. Let's say this is a file that should contain maybe for each of the departments. Let's say you are creating a workbook, and this workbook is to maybe civil engineering, and you want to create different departments containing the names of persons inside or names of students in that department. So you create a sheet. It's called a worksheet, and then you can rename this to the department, such as, let's say, civil. All right, you can put it civil. You can put the whole civil engineering. Then you create another sheet here and rename it to mechanical, electronic, and you can add as many sheets as possible to a particular workbook. All right. Now, we also have here towards the right here where you can zoom in or zoom out a worksheet. All right. And each of the sheets, remember, we only affected this particular worksheet. Now you have to move to the next sheet for you to affect that. All right, you can zoom in and then you can zoom out. All right. Now, let's look at something here. Let's take, for example, you input a data such as one. Excel allows you to, make things easier for you. Let's say you want to fill out all the spaces here. And for example, we want to fill out the serial number. Let's say this is a column for a serial number. All right, let me just write the serial number. And all right, and then we have one here. We have two here. Let's say you want to populate the data to, like, let's say about 20 persons here. So all you have to do, it will be laborious for you to keep on typing 1 to 20. Now you can select and drag here by holding the left mouse and then drag to 2. From there, we take this mouse close to this junction here, this corner here, a plus sign will appear. Click and then you drag it. You can see the numbers by the side, 12, 13, 14 to 20. Then you leave it there. All right. So we've populated this data from serial number 1 to 20. Now you can format this data by going to the home and then centralize this, right? Align to right or align to left or whatsoever. And then we have column width. For example, let's say you want to adjust the column width here. This column A, you can pick your mouse here, go here. Once you see that cross sign, then click and then you drag it, adjust it to any width you would want to do. All right, you can as well right click and then go to column width here. If you have the value, let's say a company is giving you, okay, input all the column width should be this value. You can type the value to be, let's say, 9 and then click OK. It adjusts to 9. All right, and we also have so what I'm basically showing to you is the user interface of Microsoft Excel, and it's a very powerful package which I would advise everyone should learn to use. Now, let's also take, for example, that we have other data. Let's copy this. You can copy text, Control C, and then you can paste here. All right, so the next thing we'll be looking at, also, once you are done with maybe your documents, don't worry, with time you are going to be looking at, while we are working with data, we'll be looking at some of the things that Excel has for us. Now you can click on file. We have options to save your files here. All right, you can get information about the particular particular workbook you are working on. the size here says you have not saved here. So you've not yet saved this file. We've not added a title to here. Okay. Time now is when the file was created is about, let's say, 8:55 a.m. and we've not yet printed anything out here. We've not yet modified here, right? So this is the information about this particular workbook, and I am the author. I created it, so automatically I'm the author. Let's say you want to add more authors to here, you can as well as add more authors here. You can as well click on show more properties, okay, for this particular workbook. Now we have option here to export. We have to save. So once you click on that save, you can save to your location, maybe your document, this PC, go to wherever place you want to save your document to. Now we also have the option here to, you can save it to your OneDrive, all right? If you have a OneDrive account, that's with the cloud, such that information will be stored there without, if your system happens to crash, you will not have issues with it. So we also have the print here. You can connect to a printer if you have a printer, all right? And this is how it's going to be shown to your printed out. We have here to set your printing format, right? We have the A4, we have legal and whatsoever. And then how many copies here? You can set all the printing options here. Then you can as well as export this to a PDF. All right. Remember, this Excel files comes in the form of .xlsx. Okay. Or sometimes you can open it as a CSV file. Comma separated values can open in Microsoft Excel. Now, let's say you have information and you want to convert it to portable document format. You can do that here. All right. So it's going to capture the information here from your worksheet, and then you can export it to PDF. All right. So using your Adobe Acrobat Reader, you can have access to the document. Now, you can as well as come here to publish it. All right. Let's say you want to upload it to Power BI. All right. If we are going to be looking at the use of Power BI, right? Business intelligence tool. So you can export it through here, but you have to sign in an account, all right, for you to do that. Okay. But for now, we are not going to be talking about this. All right. So let's get back home. And here we have the recent files. Under here, you can see some of the recent files that you've worked on in Microsoft Excel. And for example, you can also pin some of your documents here, the important documents you are working on. So what you have to do, just hover your mouse around here, come to here, and then click on pin this item to the list, right? By clicking on pin. So what happens is that once you go to pin files, you can see some of the pin documents. And let me repeat myself again. Why you pin documents is because of how priority it is. Important documents should be pinned down so you don't start looking for them, right? And then we also have something called the templates. Okay, we have templates. If you happen to be online, all right, if you happen to be online, or if you connect to a Microsoft account, you see some available templates for you. All right, so I think you've been able to cover and seen how to use Microsoft Excel. Please take note that what I just did now was just to give you a brief overview of the introduction to Microsoft Excel. And as you can see, companies uses this. It's very flexible. And I also add that while other tools came up, maybe such as a Python and its libraries and structured query language like the SQL. All right, why those tools came up is to allow data analysts to be more flexible and custom to the use of data or working with data. Okay, because this Microsoft Excel, it will be difficult for you because it's a program that was built, right, using programming language to build it. So some things that you cannot really carry out with Microsoft Excel, you can use other tools such as SQL. For example, fetching data from databases will require that you use a structured query language. So it's a language on its own, a programming language that you use to fetch data from databases. You can use the same SQL to clean that data and even create other functionalities. But one thing I love about Microsoft Excel is that the formatting aspect of it, all right, bolding it, italicizing it, and presenting it properly to companies. I really love that part about it. But when it comes to interacting with databases, all right, and writing custom codes to your very personal test, and Excel may not really be good at that unless you know how to use, we have programming for, and also for Python, programming language. You can write functions, all right? You can build things from CSV files. You can even build things using Excel files, right? In Python itself. You can even plot charts and do a whole lot of stuff. All right. So it's a very large community, and this course is going to expose you to those tools that you need to use as a data analyst or intending data analyst. So I really welcome you to this course, and I'm glad you participated in this lecture. So thank you so much, and I'm expecting to see you next time.